News presenting is one of the most challenging jobs in television. Heartbreaking news, demanding viewers, and a world that changes before your eyes all mean that newscasters have to be very adaptable.
You've got to be across these stories, you've got to know the detail, because ultimately, you're the one that's got to tell the stories.
But the TV news of today is pretty different to the news people watched in the past. The first UK news broadcast with a presenter in shot was on the 4th of September in 1955. The tools of the trade were primitive in the early days of newsreading. Newsreaders use a special device called an auto cue to read headlines. But in the 1950s and 60s, this technology was far from perfect.
We had a homemade auto cue device, a kind of square tin box with a glass front, illuminated inside, and the script was put on a roller, rather like loo paper, inside this machine.
Sometimes the pieces of paper would fall apart during the broadcast. In the 1970s and 80s, the paper machine was replaced by a digital auto cue placed directly on the camera lens. This modern auto cue allows presenters to read the news while directly addressing the viewers. It's become the newsreader's best friend, but the relationship still suffers from the occasional breakdown.
Now there I have a problem because unfortunately the auto cue, which is a rare thing that we ever refer to, has broken down.
In the 1980s, new technology changed things again when live satellite broadcasts were introduced. This meant that, for the first time ever, the news could be filmed live, on location. Presenter Alistair Stewart remembers delivering a famous breaking story live from Berlin in 1989.
My proudest moment in all the time I've been doing it, undoubtedly, was November 1989 and the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Good afternoon from Berlin. In just 3 days, the world has seen the city transformed from one divided by a cruel wall to one where its citizens from both east and west may come and go as they please.
And in the 1990s, the introduction of rolling 24-hour news channels meant that viewers didn't need to wait for the 6 or 10 o'clock news programs. Exclusive, topical stories would be delivered into their homes 24 hours a day.
It's instant, it's there, it's happening. This is the world living, breathing, pulsating. This is the world that's relevant to you. This is the news of today. To me, rolling news is the only news.
Over the past 60 years, the job of a newscaster has undergone considerable changes. But what does it take to be a newsreader?
I think the toughest challenge is keeping people interested in what you are going to say, making it relevant to their lives. That's the trick. If you manage that, you've done it very well.
The greatest single honor of being a newsreader is that you are in effect a conductor. You've got an orchestra in front of you.
The question is, how will TV news change again in the future? And when it does, how will the job of the newscaster change with it?